All right, we're back, 7:18 on this great Thursday morning. Hope you're having a great commute to work. The other day, I remember getting the traffic report after the show was over, and it was one of those days we had like two big rigs that got in a UFC fight on the freeway, and they were all tangled up, and it locked it down for hours. I mean, I saw Facebook feeds of saying, what in God's name is going on 35?
Two big rigs in a UFC fight.
Yeah, they all got two big fight.
An Ultimate Freighters fight.
There you go.
Ultimate
That's
Freighters
good
Club
on that. Way to go. That's slick. Good going. I want to introduce Rich Franklin. He's a UFC fighter from Cincinnati in the studio with me, and also Dr. Randall from the Cerebrum Health Centers here in Irving and Atlanta. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Good to be here. Thank you.
All right. Concussions, that's the C word that a lot of people, especially if you got kids and they play sports, and it's a very, with the NFL, a very hot topic as well in sports, and it's something it seems like, are we seeing more concussions now than we did 20 years ago, or are we just paying more attention to them? But let's kind of get down to the nit and gritty. Let's talk about your centers that you guys have.
Sure. Cerebrum Health Centers is a primary neurologic-based treatment facility treating head injuries of different varieties, all the way from military to occupational head injuries to combat sports and those types of events. So we see a wide array of patients that either have hit their head or struggling from a number of issues after having a head injury.
So, and how would you know if you have a concussion? I mean, because I gave an example. I hit my head on the garage door, knocked me out for a couple minutes, woke up, kind of like, okay, that was weird. But is there signs that obviously medical experts would know, but as a normal person, how would I know that I had a concussion?
Sure, absolutely. There are signs of concussion. Confusion, nausea, an inability to focus, difficulty sleeping, vomiting after a head injury. Those are things that you can see right after the incident. But then people can go into a state called Post-Concussion Syndrome. And Post-Concussion Syndrome is a collection of symptoms, typically a loss of balance, head pain, inability to concentrate, difficulty moving their eyes in certain positions, really just struggling in some of the basic functions of life. And it's difficult to really put your finger on it from the patient's perspective until they get assessed. And then they can really start to see that their deficiencies are causing a lot of problems.
And Rich Franklin, being a UFC fighter, now kind of retired in certain degree.
Yeah, I've been retired for a few years now.
But let's talk about, concussion. Like, do you remember your first concussion?
Oh, I do. And just to go back, you say, what are the signs of a concussion? Typically, if you go unconscious, that's a pretty good sign that you probably had a concussion. But I remember my first concussion fighting, actually, and I didn't go completely unconscious. And I talked after my fight, post-fight speech, all that kind of stuff. I remember being in the locker room, and we have these custom mouthpieces made, and they're very expensive. And
yes.
So after the fight, I remember being in the locker room and asking where my mouthpiece was. And by the time
priorities.
By the time I was remembering that I was asking about the mouthpiece, I'd probably already asked about it a half a dozen times over a period of like 45 minutes. And then I got to a point where I could remember asking, but I couldn't remember the answer that my coaches were giving me. And so, I've not had very many like post-concussion type of symptoms, like with like balance loss or nothing noticeable to the point where I would be worried. But immediately following a concussion, like I've had anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half of lost memory.
And I would imagine in the world of UFC that concussions are pretty widespread. Am I wrong on that? Assuming that?
I would imagine that you're at risk for that kind of stuff like you would be in any other sport. I mean, we're in Texas. This is a football state, and it's just as likely there. With when you're training in MMA, the difference is that these fighters, aside from what they do in the cage, they go home and you manage yourself in your own camp. You're not playing for a team where you have doctors constantly looking over you. And not every athlete is in tune with himself or herself the way that I have been during my career. So I take a very, very intelligent approach to my training, because for every minute I'm in the cage, I basically spend about 8 hours prepping for that.
Yes. In the studio, UFC fighter Rich Franklin and Dr. Randall with the Cerebrum Health Centers there here in Irving and Atlanta. All right, so let's talk youth sports for a second. when parents come in or coaches come in, what are they saying to you? Like, this, my client here or my athlete here has had a concussion. How do I deal with it?
Yeah,
when do they come to you?
There's two different times in youth sports that patients come in. One would be a baseline screening because they've been informed, they understand what a concussion is, and they want to take that next step in terms of providing safety, either for the child that they're coaching or for the child that they're trying to support. Second would be they come in because they know they've been concussed, and so they've lost consciousness or there have been a big lapse in memory, or they're having some type of symptom that's driving them to come into the office. So first and foremost, though, you've got to deal in the world of objectivity, meaning numbers and things that you can prove. So you've got to measure things from a central nervous system perspective so that objectively you can figure out if this person's been concussed or not.
There you go. And has the treatment changed over the years? I mean, you always hear about having these people in solitary confinement and dark and don't watch TV, don't read any visuals. Has that changed, or is that kind of the norm?
It has changed, and there's also been things that have been added to it to make those types of treatments be more effective. But sensory deprivation after a very significant concussion is important. Kids and cell phones, kids in high contrast, high definition type of television.
Oh, my goodness.
Visual stimulation after a head injury can be very bad. So sensory deprivation should be something that you should consider on your way to, getting looked at by a physician and making sure that the child doesn't have a brain bleed or they're not in a significant risk. And so going to the hospital and making sure that you see some qualified professional to make sure that head injury is not more significant than you think.
What is the timeline to rehab on a concussion? I mean, is this something that months, weeks?
It depends on the severity of concussion, the location of where the injury in the brain is. But first and foremost, you need to be assessed. This is not something that you need to say, well, let's wait 2 or 3 days or let's wait a week and see how things go. You need to see a qualified healthcare professional right away, because problems get worse in the central nervous system, especially in post-concussion syndrome.
There you go. Go back to you, Rich, being a fighter. What's kind of the protocol in your sport? Are guys aware of the fact that some of these, your sport can lead to concussions? Obviously, with the let's say brutal hand to hand.
Yeah. Listen, I believe that athletes are aware of it, but like every other young athlete that would come out of college at the age of 22, you believe that you're
10 foot tall and bulletproof.
Indestructible. And so the same thing would happen, like you see this in the NFL, but it's the coaches that have to be on top of things to make sure that these athletes make the right decisions. And like I said, a lot of these athletes, once you're out of a fight, there's a concussion protocol that the referee and the doctor will follow after a fight, and all the way back to the locker room, whatever testing you may need to have done at the hospital and stuff like that. But once you leave, you're kind of on your own for your own care, and that's the danger with mixed martial arts.
Yeah. The industry itself, what you've been in for how long? Been practicing
7 years.
7 years. Do you find there's more people in this segment, business-wise, more competition and?
Absolutely. It's a budding field, and there's a lot of new technology and a lot of new research and a lot of young, fresh minds that are coming into the field, pushing the world of neurology in terms of rehabilitation, diagnosis, management of the entire problem of concussion. It's something that needs to be managed appropriately so that we can provide the level of safety to the up-and-coming athletes. It's not something where we need to be taking our kids out of sports and a level of hysteria applied to the population where our kids just don't play sports anymore, because I don't think that's the answer.
Because I've heard people say that.
Absolutely.
That this is going to lead to, 10 years from now, and kids won't play high school football, which we all know that's not going to happen in the state of Texas. It's I think God has it somewhere in the Bible that
it's a
football will be played in the state of Texas.
Yeah. Football's alive and well here.
Yeah, it's alive and well here. Do you think the media's covering concussions more than they have in the past? So it makes it feel like there's more concussions going on?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Especially when you have celebrities, getting head injuries and people in the public eye. I think that's something that can be covered. And so, awareness, first and foremost, needs to be applied to the populations to understand, do we have a problem or not?
Yeah. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll continue this conversation after the break. Plus, the Trinity River I want to go jump in it right now and go swimming. It's probably fairly cold, I would imagine, but we'll talk about the Trinity River and exactly how it got to where it is today, especially in the city of Fort Worth. And there's a celebration coming up as well. Plus, more Americans are quitting their job. But I want to know how they're quitting. Are they like saying, peace out? Or are they just texting their boss? That's so millennial. Maybe that's the case. 7:29, stick around. You listen to 620 AM, KEXP, your experts in business. Good morning on Facebook Live as well. I'm going to log off and log back on later. We're back. That music kind of reminded me of the Batman. Kapow, kapoom, kapow, kapoom. And I'm just envisioning Batman kicking some butt on some gangsters, but good stuff. Cagan Randall from Cerebrum Health Centers and Rich Franklin, UFC fighter from Cincinnati, in the studio today. We're talking about concussions. But here's a question for you. So if you've had a concussion, you've gone through treatment, and you felt like it got better, but you still don't feel right. Like it still feels like something is wrong. What can they do?
That's where you've got to go and be assessed. You've got systems in your brain that control the way that you feel the environment and the way that you interact with the environment. And you need to have those systems assessed in an objective way to where we can have gold standard testing applied to a problem that we're trying to figure out. Meaning we need to deal in the world of objectivity. It's not, well, do you have a headache or not?
Yeah, right.
It needs to be reflexogenic measurements of the central nervous system that are repeatable. And these reflexes get injured. One of those reflexes, let's talk in specificity, is the stability of the eye. Well, if the brain gets damaged, the eyeball is not going to be stable. And if it's not stable, it's going to be very hard for you to interpret your visual environment. So then every time you try to use your eyeball, it's going to be difficult. You get towards the end of a day, let's say it's a student in a classroom looking up, down, trying to participate in a PowerPoint in an auditorium that has an echo, the light's kind of off, there's stairs, and so there's depth contamination. Wow. And you have a busted visual system, and you try to participate in that all day long. By the end of the day, boom, the migraine happens. And people don't understand why, after the head injury, do I feel this way? Well, that's probably because they didn't have their sensory systems evaluated appropriately, meaning your visual system. How is your hearing? What is your spatial visual relationship? What is your balance like? How do your eyes move and how fast do they move? Those are all types of central nervous system measurements that are important to measure post-head injury.
That's very interesting. How can someone get a hold of you if they've got questions and they're like, you know what, this is kind of hitting home to me?
Sure. Well, they can contact the office. You can find us on the internet. So cerebrumhealthcenters.com. And by all means, contact the office and you can make an appointment so that you can get these systems measured as a baseline, first and foremost, to protect your child or yourself. Or in the event of an injury, you can come make an appointment so that you can be assessed to see if there's some rehabilitation that can be applied to make your situation better.
And if you want Rich Franklin to beat you up, you got an 800 number for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'll tell you what, we'll just work on choking people out instead of like chicken kicking them, because when you chicken kick, it's a naked chicken kick, actually, what you said. You can cause a concussion.
A rear naked chicken kick.
Yeah, a rear naked chicken kick, and we don't want to cause any concussions.
No,
so
we don't. No concussions here. Yeah. I want you guys to stick around. I want to transition into, obviously, you're familiar with the Trinity River because you live here, right?
Absolutely.
Great. I think it's a great staple of our whole community of North Texas. In Cincinnati, you've got a river that runs through the town too, right?
Yeah, Ohio River right there.
River. There you go.
The Ohio and Kentucky states.
There you go. Bring in Stacy Pierce with Streams and Valleys. You're the director of Streams and Valleys. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here.
All right, let's talk about the Trinity River. And at one point, now it's quite the eye candy in a way. It's very visual, but it wasn't always like that.
That's true. So in the late 50s, after the flood, Phyllis Tilley, the founder of Streams and Valleys, a visionary lady, drove over the 7th Street Bridge and said, you know what? We've got to fix this. It was a dump, not much water.
Literally, right? Tires and all kinds of stuff floating.
everything you can imagine. People threw it in there. And Phyllis felt that was her mission, and she enlisted all of her friends and family and neighbors to make a difference. And nearly 50 years later, it's just the best amenity we have.
And when you think about it, all the trees that they've added, running trails. I mean, I gave an example for the show. It was like in the month of January. It was freaking freezing outside, and there were people utilizing the trails, walking their dogs, riding their bikes. It's been it fits an active lifestyle, I think, that North Texans have to a certain degree.
No question. We have a great mayor who loves to be on the trail. She cycles regularly, and we have several other great partners that are promoting good health and fitness and being outdoors. So no matter who you are, no matter what age, what your bank account is, anything, it's for you. It's our best civic space in Fort Worth.
It's a good thing they don't check the bank account, because after a couple days, yeah. Let's talk about it. You got an event coming up, Friends of the River.
We do. So on Thursday, October 20th, we'll do a run through Trinity Park and then have a party in the plaza on 7th Street at Montgomery Plaza. 30-plus restaurants, great restaurants, tasting event.
What's your favorite restaurant, by the way?
Oh, my favorite. I couldn't even think about picking. There's so many great ones. Yeah. But Righteous Foods will be there.
Okay.
And talk about a healthy choice and great cuisine. They'll be there. And so it's a wonderful way to get some exercise. You can bring your dog. You can bring your kids. So run through Trinity Park, beautiful place, and then wind it up with a couple of hours of good food, good wine, good company.
Give me the process of what you guys have to go through to make sure that it stays clean. Because I know that you always have runoff, and you've always got people that are littering, I guess, But what goes into keeping it clean?
You know what? That's a great partnership effort. So our longtime partners, the City of Fort Worth, the Tarrant Regional Water District, the Trinity River Vision Authority, all of those entities work unbelievably hard every day to not only monitor the water supply and quality, but to also take care of, just like you mentioned, stormwater and runoff and what's happening in those neighborhoods. Now, that doesn't take away all of us doing our part to make sure that we get our recycling in the right spot, our trash in the right spot, and so there's no danger of when that rain comes that whatever you didn't get in the right spot winds up in the river.
Yeah, that's what happens. And obviously with this cooler weather, people are spending a little bit more time outside. But there's some really common sense things that we all need to put in place when you get in a public space like that. And I'm telling you, I have road rage to a certain degree. I've been known to throw rocks at cars. The people who speed through school zones, and they're always on their phones doing that. And that also applies to the trail. Don't be looking at your phone the whole time, because you could run somebody over.
No question.
Or get run over by a cyclist.
You are so right. The trail is more like a street than a sidewalk.
Right.
So you got to be moving. You got to stay to the right. You got to let people know what you're gonna do. If you're gonna pass, you got to do that on the left and let them know. It's all about communication and sharing the trail.
I would skateboard in California. I'd go on the sidewalk and I'd be skateboarding, and I'd be like, I'd hear on your left, and I'm like, okay, but that's the communication, right?
Exactly right.
Because you don't want to cross paths.
That's exactly right.
Nasty. Okay, so as far as websites and all that good stuff, it's really streamsandvalleys.org.
Correct.
Or go on Facebook, Streams and Valley Inc. on Facebook as well, and I guess on Twitter at Streams Valleys.
Right.
On Twitter.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
I just wanted to throw something in here real quick. A couple of weeks ago, there was the Trash Bash out there at the Trinity River in Fort Worth, and I participated in that with the scout troop that me and my sons are involved in.
So you guys threw a bunch of trash in the water?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
We gave it to the Gators.
All right. Yeah.
They ate it.
That's a great event, and that's hosted by our good partner, the Tarrant Regional Water District. I, too, have taken a scout troop to Trash Bash.
There you go.
And it's an amazing community event and so well participated in. And, again, it's the way we think of the river in Fort Worth, which is it's everybody's.
It's everybody's river.
Everybody's river.
Yeah.
Everybody's trail, so come on down.
Stacey Pierce joining us in the studio. She is a director of Streams and Valleys. I think the Trinity River is definitely a gem of this area. I really do. I love Fort Worth. And I'm not just saying it because you're in front of me. Yes, I am. I'm kidding. I love Fort Worth. It's a great place. And it is so visual right there. It's just a great place. And I want us to all maintain that for future generations. If it wasn't for this whole initiative, you wouldn't have planted thousands of trees and made it really active for the community. So I applaud you guys. So give us one more time, Friends of the River, Party on the Plaza. Date is on Thursday, October 20th, going out there to Montgomery Plaza, right there on the West 7th Street, there in Fort Worth, from 6 to 9. The price is $30.
Starts at 30, right?
Starts at 30.
Depending on what you want to do.
But your dog is probably free.
Yes.
Okay. So you're not paying for the dog.
Right.
And then come in there and have a great time. And, of course, it all benefits you guys to help, keep it clean. That's correct. Thanks so much. I want you to stick around as well. We're going to talk about Americans are quitting their job. Now I'm just going to go on a limb here. When you quit UFC, you probably went up and just naked rear chicken kicked somebody. And I'm out. That's standard. That's policy, actually. Yeah, that's just what you do. So it wasn't anything unique. Like, it may sound unique to the listener, but in my industry, it's just normal. It's normal. So I didn't do anything great. If you've got any creative ways that you've quit your job, I really want to hear these. Do you have any examples that even when you were in school or people that you've worked for, that's their last day of the job was kind of epic? Anything pop out? Because I've had some guys in media get all pissed off. And I had one, this is really funny. One girl had just got a contract to go to Los Angeles. And in her contract, she had still like a year left. So she couldn't technically take that job. So she staged a fight with another employee at work and got up and dropped F-bombs and this and that and throw some stuff off the desk and stormed out and tried to be as disruptive as possible so that they would let her go, knowing that her future employer knew this was going to take place because they wanted her. I thought, we all thought it was obviously real at the time, but it didn't come out until like 10 years later that all that was staged. And I thought, that's smart. That is smart stuff. If I'm going to quit a job, why not go out in style?
Doesn't sound smart to me. It sounds psycho.
Okay. Well, if I told you this girl's name, you could stalk her on Facebook. Yeah. I think her middle name might be Psycho. Okay. Well. She is a little nuts, but she works for one of the big news organizations based in Los Angeles. So.
Los Angeles. Yeah, that makes sense then.
Yeah, I usually my last day at jobs, I leave very quietly. Thanks for your time.
You grab your gloves, you toss them in the middle of the ring, and say, "I'm out.
I'm out." Call my UFC fighter. I'm over here. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about how many Americans are quitting their jobs right now, but why? Why are these people quitting?
Why, Brian?
I don't know. I've got the answer for you. Plus, but before we go to break, let's do something that we've started a tradition on the show. This is our good friend Neil McCoy, country music star Neil McCoy, doing the Pledge of Allegiance. So let's listen in.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
All right, we're back. So, you like your job, Michael?
Why do you even ask that?
I don't know. I'm just trying to put you on the spot.
I'm in the middle of it.
I'm hoping to catch you in a hot mic situation.
Yeah.
So that I can go to Billy Bush. Which I did a funny Snapchat the other day.
And destroy my career later when I'm a billionaire.
And destroy your career later when you're a billionaire. I love my job. And I really do. I enjoy what I do. Salem's a great company. We got a great format. We talk about business. We talk about people and health and our community. And we talk about ways to improve our lives, improve the lives of others. But apparently, Americans are quitting their jobs in masses. That's right. Okay, we're out of here. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, as I tongue twice.
You and David Letterman can't handle that word.
Yeah.
He used to always butcher that one.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
20 years.
Back in August, the amount of Americans that actually quit their job climbed to the highest level of the year and second highest level since we've seen the Great Depression. Great Recession, I'm sorry. Can't even read this morning. Which makes me think one of the reasons why is they're confident that they'll find another one.
Yeah.
So in the break we were talking. Have you ever quit a job before you had another one?
No.
No. How about you?
No.
No. No?
I think I fall under a different case being.
Yeah, you kind of do. You kind of do.
I have.
Yeah. You have?
I've quit a job, but I just got fed up with it. And I'm like, I could get a job anywhere else. It doesn't matter. I need to get away from this one right now.
I think, I think if you have confidence in your skill set, obviously, and you're like, you know what? I'm better than this place. I can get a job somewhere else. Maybe you have some confidence that works out.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I guess, depending on what industry you're in. Now, this is really, in the tech industry, since the tech industry is in apps and software development, that is just booming. So maybe if you write code, if you are in that type of industry,
sure,
then you probably know there's a demand for your skill set. So you probably are a little bit more confident to say, well, I'm out of here. I can go find something different. But it's very interesting how more employees but I really want to find out how these people are quitting. I talked about earlier that example how she kind of staged something. I've seen people break down and cry on their last day.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, have some dignity there.
Anybody ever fake their death, move to another state?
Could you fake your death, move to another state?
It's one way to quit.
Yeah, one way to quit. Fast food, you always see these viral videos of someone throwing a shake or something like that, or throwing a cheeseburger across the kitchen. You always see that in quick service. But for the most part, in the professional world, I guess you slowly get your stuff off your desk. That's the biggest bit of advice I can give somebody. Slowly get your stuff off your desk. Don't just one day take everything off and go, my goodness, look at old Johnny in accounting. Where's he at? When everything's gone. Oh, the old box, too. Always keep a brown box in your trunk.
You think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah, you got to keep a brown box. You never know. You might need that.
I've always had that provided to me.
Oh, they give you the box.
Even when you quit?
Even when you quit?
No.
I've never given them before they quit. Anyway, all right, let's check on the markets real quick before we head into the break. Let me pull it up. Oh, by the way, we had breaking news earlier.
Oh, right. Yeah, you were telling me about
breaking news, and I'm so proud of CNN for just streaming this on top of their thing here.
Right.
I didn't know how to. Bob Dylan.
Yeah, I'm sure this is going to be the headline tomorrow on the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times.
Peace Prize for literature.
Not Peace Prize.
For
Nobel Prize. There's
prize.
Nobel Prize for everything.
That's true.
One of them is peace. Another one is literature.
Well, he got it for literature.
Yes.
Which is, okay. Whatever.
He's written songs.
But why is it streaming in the top of the
That is a good question.
That's a little ridiculous. Now that my computer is completely frozen up. But it does give me an opportunity to talk about the Money Show Dallas coming up. And, of course, we're going to have some speakers call in the 8 o'clock hour.
Okay.
And talk about this great. Now, there's 50 plus speakers involved in this. And it happens from October 19th to the 21st, downtown Dallas. Go down there and get registered. And really, Steve Forbes is one of the speaker.
That's a big name.
And we have a guy calling in that has written software that tracks the progressive movements of stocks and helps you trade more efficiently. I mean, there's all kinds of good content here.
That's awesome.
Go to the Money Show Dallas and get all the information for that, because it definitely will. If you're into that kind of stuff, this is it. It's at the Hyatt Regency downtown Dallas.
The guy that comes on the show after us, he's actually written software like that too.
Oh yeah, Bill Gunderson.
Gunderson,
yeah. All right. Also coming up in 8 o'clock hour, we'll get into a little bit more of your consumer reports, and we'll find out which retailers are actually faring better as we kind of go into this holiday shopping center.
Hint. It's not Sears.
No, it's not Sears.
Hint, it's not Macy's.
Did you ever have Tough Skins? Jeans, Tough Skins from Sears?
No.
Do you remember those? I don't know.
No, I grew up in a Wranglers era.
Oh, okay, Wranglers are good. Tough Skins? No?
No.
Do you ever wear Granimals? The underwear?
No.
Nobody wear Granimals? Boy,
no, man.
Where did my parents shop?
Mine shopped at the thrift store.
Mine were in the thrift store, but I don't know where they got mine. I was dressed like Hulk Hogan.
I wore $4 jeans, man.
Yeah. Tough Skins. Sears, but Sears is a brand that it's slowly going away. They're spinning off the Craftsman tool line, which every guy has a set of Craftsman's tool, right?
Yeah.
You're not a man unless you have a set of Craftsman's.
That's right. I got Craftsman toolbox, Craftsman shovel, Craftsman rake.
They're good tools. They're guaranteed for life.
There you go.
Well, Sears guaranteed for life now, though.
That's true. I guess you could take them back to, where would you take them back? Shove them back to Craftsman?
I don't know. And they cracked down on that guaranteed for life thing. It's only certain models of their tools that are guaranteed for life.
Right. We'll also get into Samsung just now started sending out these fireproof boxes. This is pretty funny when you look at that. We'll post a video up on our Facebook page. It's pretty funny. It's almost like a gag gift, like you'd give somebody for Christmas. And what they include in this box, we'll go over the contents. It's pretty funny. Now, I've got this Samsung Galaxy Edge over here. I'm charging it. It's not hot yet. See, that's why I jump off Facebook Live. I'm afraid it's going to catch fire during the show. Which would make great for a viral video, though.
So this fireproof box,
it's a box that they send you to put your phone in to send back.
Oh,
but what they put in this box is pretty funny.
I thought it would be a box like if your phone caught fire, you would toss it into the box and it would put it out.
Oh no, I don't know what you do. You know what's? It's funny you say that. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this. I find myself in situations thinking, okay, if this phone caught fire, what am I doing? Like, where am I putting this?
Outside, Brian.
Yeah,
as quickly as you can. Get it outside because I don't want a pile of molten phone in my studio.
Maybe that's why I keep it connected to the selfie stick because I could just pick up the stick and throw it. All right, we got to take a break.
Here's your favorite song.
We'll come back out. Give us a few minutes. We'll come back. Listen, 6:20 a.m. KEXP. Your experts in business. See you in a few. Welcome back, 8:03 right here, 6:20 a.m. KEXB, your experts in business. Good morning. Good, happy Thursday morning. Crisp and cool out there. I hope you're having a fine day. Nice to kind of look at the weekend straight ahead. I like this change in the weather that we had overnight. And I love the weather geeks right now because what happened is the cold front moved through the area. It's down south of Waco. But guess what? It loves DFW so much, it's coming back north as a warm front. Therefore, that's where the winds will shift out of the south from 15 to 20 miles an hour, getting the temperatures up there. Back to you.
Yeah.
You like that?
No, that is one of the terrible things about cold fronts this time of year, I suppose, is that sometimes they can turn around and do that. But it is still 60 degrees, actually upper 50s in many places in North Texas right now. And it does feel quite crisp and nice with the 10-mile-an-hour winds from the north. Today, we're headed up between 75 to 77 degrees. It's a good, much cooler temperature than yesterday, about 12 degrees cooler. 15 degrees cooler.
Yeah.
12 to 15.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah, and then we got 60% chance of storms this evening. And then early morning tomorrow, it's 40% chance of storms and overnight low of 61, high of 82 tomorrow. The storms clear off early in the afternoon. And then Saturday and Sunday looks like mid to upper 80s, probably upper 80s by the start of the week. And it's a good weekend for the fair.
Yeah, it is a great week. I still haven't been out there. Of course, I'm out of town this weekend.
Out of town.
I gotta get out
Quit
there.
getting out of town during the fair. You can't do that.
I can't do that.
Not every weekend.
I know. We've had a great conversation in the 7 o'clock hour about concussions and just really making sure that if you've had a concussion and they've been semi-treated, I guess, and you feel, I feel a little bit better, but I'm not myself, we've got an expert that can help you out on that. And it's, you know what? It's big business. Treating concussions is big business because it is so important that we focus in on that because there is some long-term benefits.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll get into that a little bit later in the show. Plus, I love the Trinity River. Fort Worth's a great city, and the Trinity's a part of that city. It wasn't always as nice as it is. It just wasn't. It's gone through a transformation over the years, and of course, there's a big celebration coming up to celebrate the Trinity River and how to, get you involved as well. And there's things that you can do at home to ensure that Trinity River does not become polluted and become a dump that it used to be. Donald Trump all over the news. I mean, obviously, I made a pledge, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to officially have a press conference at 9:01 here on Facebook Live. That I will be logging off Facebook on any political post because I was called a right-wing nut job by somebody. I'm offended personally. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but call me a right-wing nut job will hurt me. I'm a little, so I'm going to slack off a little bit and stay off the politics. But nevertheless, Donald Trump definitely in the news, and we can all agree, Michael. I don't want to put our guests on the hot seat here, but you and I can agree that we've been in the media. I've been in the media since 1988 for the most part, in and out.
Yeah, I was.
Okay,
I was born. I was probably born then.
Okay, I have. Well, never has there been a time in our history of broadcasting that covering elections, covering politics, covering news has ever been so lopsided, opinionated news as it is today.
Yeah.
Period. And I don't care
state of the media.
What you say. And it's on both sides. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Donald Trump gets hall passes from Fox. But, man, let me tell you something. I got the history of MSNBC the other day, and I did not know this. Back when they first were formed, I'm talking about the cable network, right? The news show.
Right.
They had all kinds of random stuff on there. Keith Olbermann was a talent on that show.
Oh, yeah.
He went off on George Bush Jr. For about 5 to 7 minutes. Went off on him. When he went off on him, the ratings spiked. So all the network executives ran in there and go, whoa, we got something here. Wait a minute. You're pissed off at Bush? Yeah, he did this, he just said this, he did this, and this is what's going to happen. And that's the narrative that they embraced for the existence of that station.
Yeah,
they kept booking guest after guest after guest coming on there, bashing Republicans and bashing the right. So that's kind of what their mojo is.
Yeah, that's their MO.
Just like Fox News in a way, but I will say this, Fox News has always branded themselves as fair and balanced. We report, you decide.
And
that was before all of this, right?
They've got Geraldo on there. They've got Juan Williams.
They have Juan.
Lots of people. They've had in the past. They've had Combs. They still got him as a guest, a major guest.
But I guess what I'm getting to is the latest WikiLeaks came out, and it proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is a conspiracy, and I hate that word, but there is a relationship, I guess, for a better word, between the media and the Clinton campaign to get her elected no matter what. But I will say this.
1,100.
I think that I think Americans see this.
Yeah. And
the more they push down, it's like a beach ball. It's like you're in the pool and you push down your beach ball under the water and you push and you push and you push it. But the further you push down, the more with powerful it pops up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what his poll ratings are. And his popularity, the video that I posted up on Facebook, and Mark Davis was talking about it the other day on the air, is it looked like a rock concert. It looked like Rock on the Range in Columbus, Ohio. It had like 20,000 people in the stadium. And I'm like, those are crowds that we have never seen on the presidential campaign before. So anyway, mind you, November 8th, not 28th, despite what Trump said. Remember, they got him on there. It was kind of funny, actually. And I will poke fun at that guy.
Yeah.
Yes, he looks like a Oompa Loompa. He has a bad spray tan.
And he needs to get off of the Twitters.
Off the Twitter, different hairstyle, and just, he has the worst bedside manner. And now that we have a doctor in here, he'll appreciate this. And this is a good analogy I've heard. Donald Trump is a doctor with poor bedside manner. He's going to come in and tell you you're 100 pounds overweight, you need to stop smoking, change your diet, get some exercise, or you're going to die. Have a nice day, and walks out. And you go, but doctor, that hurt my feelings. I mean, what do you want him to say? You want him to kind of pussyfoot around the thing there? So he's kind of a politician with really poor bedside manner. But I like that. I don't want a career politician to tell me what I want to hear, just so he can get elected.
And there's the flip side of that. A lot of people think that it takes a politician to be the commander-in-chief.
All right, I'm getting mad, so let's take a break. Coming up, we're going to talk concussions. I mean, this is a serious thing. We got the experts in here. We got Dr. Cagan Randall with Team Cerebrum Health Centers here in Irving and Atlanta, and I got UFC fighter. Maybe in the break we can kind of trade punches or whatever. Not really, because he'll kick my butt.
3-time world champ, right?
Yeah, Rich Franklin. Can't wait to bring him on as well. Doc, if you want to just exit right there, if you just want to leave, you're like, why am I on the show?
No, I'll hold your selfie stick. Oh, no. When he punches you, I'll hold your cell phone so we can capture that.
We have to capture that.
For sure.
I've always said, if you're going to go out with a viral video.
Make sure you got on slow-mo mode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got Premiere Pro on my laptop right here. In fact, I got it open. All we have to do is ingest it, and we got a nice little video going.
We'll just go live.
We just go live.
Yeah.
We can do that live. Thanks so much for joining us on this Thursday morning. I can't wait to get back into this conversation. Once again, I've got a couple of messages on Facebook I got to check in regards to concussions, by the way. I'll read those. But if you have a question for me, give me a call at 214-787-1160, 214-787-1160, or hit me up on Twitter as well. And when we get into the Trinity River and then that topic, give me a call on that. I mean, it's a beautiful. Tell me what you like about it. Tell me, how do you enjoy that great space we have there in Fort Worth? Give us a few. We'll come right back. You're listening to 620 AM KEXP, your experts in just about everything. We'll see you in a few.
She's real fine, my 409, my 409. Well, I saved my pennies and I saved my dimes. Giddy up, 409.
All right, we're back, 8:15 on this beautiful Thursday morning. Hope you're having a great commute to work. Let's talk about concussions. Earlier in the show, we were talking to Rich Franklin. He's a UFC fighter. Is that right? 2-time world champ? 3-time. My apologies. 3-time world champs. And, of course, Dr. Cagan Randall with the Cerebrum Health Centers located here in Irving, and one in Atlanta as well. I want to have you guys back on and talk about this. Now, obviously, one of the things that if you have kids that play sports, that tends to be a really hot topic right now, right? I mean, it's, parents are concerned. And should they be concerned at a young age, or younger kids more susceptible to getting a concussion than someone that's in their teens?
I think that concern is appropriate. And with that concern comes education and appropriate baseline testing parameters, so that then that concern turns into objective information and not fear, because you fear the things that you don't know.
That's true.
So if you go and answer those questions, especially related to neurologic performance, because I'm a parent and I'm sure we have some parents here in the room, how many of us can say that we know and understand the neurologic performance of our children? Well, aside from the fact that you look at their report cards.
Sure.
Do you know the neurologic performance of your children? And so that's one of the questions that I would ask as you put your child into a combative sport.
Okay. When people come to you, they're looking for what? Have they already suffered a concussion, or maybe it's frequent, or it's recent, or is it something that they followed up from years ago and they still don't feel the same?
We see both of those. We see the acute concussion, and then we see those post-concussion syndrome patients as well. So we see a little bit of both of those two different patient demographics, as well as we see people wanting to come in and get a baseline assessment before the season starts, so that they can know and understand where their neurologic performance is before that contact starts. In the event of an injury, now we know where that person was before the injury happened. And then that really helps prognosis. It helps treatment plan. It really helps the application of rehab and the application to that patient.
And Rich Franklin, UFC fighter, how did concussions affect your career?
Let me just say that I came to I came to know the Cerebrum Center by I know a young man who had a concussion and dealing with a lot of health problems. So I came down here to raise awareness for him, and it's been really quite interesting being at the center and actually learning, because it's a double-edged sword for me. I've had, by my count, about 8 concussions in my career.
Okay, I'll stop you right there. What do you think when he says that? What are you thinking? That he's had 8 concussions?
Well, now that I know, Rich, it doesn't really concern me, because you have to look at...
Because you know him.
Right, well, sure. Well, but then you have to look at... there's a lot of factors around the performance of the brain, and there are some people that can sustain concussions, and there are some people that cannot sustain concussions, and there are a lot of factors behind that: genetics, health status of the individual before the concussion happened. If you have osteoporosis or thin bones right before you break your hip, what do you think the recovery is going to be like in the rehab process? Well, if you have a poor brain, or the poor performance physiologically of a brain, and then you go injure it, well, how do you think the performance is going to be?
Good point.
So with Rich, absolutely not. He's one of the most cerebral fighters that I've ever met. And I've had the opportunity, because I'm a huge fan of mixed martial arts, I love the sport and the cerebral nature of it. Whenever you look at especially fighters and the fight intelligence, you can see that their movement patterns and the way they study the game, it's a very cerebral game. And
fun to watch.
And if you know anything about the sport, Rich is a legend. And so seeing him in the fight game and now knowing him post-fight game and seeing the cerebral nature of how he applies knowledge to the fight game, post-fight game, staying in shape. I know this is a radio show and you can't see, but Rich is in great shape.
Yeah, he's ripped. You know, good. But what's your body fat? I know you probably have an idea. No,
7-8%.
Yeah, 7-8%. Train several times a week.
Yeah, I'm in the gym 6 hours a day, and I still
Holy
spar.
smoke.
And that's what I was going to talk about. Is like on the back end of my career, I came down here for basically like a neurological assessment and to raise awareness about all this kind of stuff. And so I was really curious coming in to see like, okay, because things happen, you know, like I forget my keys when they're sitting in my pocket, and I'm like, where did I put my keys? And I spend 15 minutes looking for them. I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, is this just because sometimes I do dumb things, and we all do those kinds of things, or you start thinking like, is this backlash from the stuff that I've suffered in my career? So it's been nice coming down here to be able to assess myself and have that stuff going on.
Yeah. And so you've had a great relationship. The two of you.
The Cerebrum Center, the people are awesome there. It's amazing. Like it's amazing the amount of information I've learned. I'm on a sensory overload of information this week. They've put me through a number of very, very frustrating drills from a balanced memory and every other neurological perspective that you can think of, and it's really educational.
But from a treatment perspective, you know, just speaking about brass tacks. Rich he's been at the upper echelon. A lot of us will never achieve competition at the level that he's achieved. Mm-hmm. And especially from a combat perspective. And seeing his neurologic performance today is a testament to the fact that people can get concussed and you can play contact sports and you can still be okay afterwards. Because I would put Rich on my neurologic team any day of the week as it comes to memory and neurologic performance and a lot of those things. And so the health and integrity of the individual during the fight process, pre and post camp, after retirement, all plays a huge role into the integrity of the individual, the health integrity of the individual 5, 10, 15 years post-fight game.
Have you seen this sector in the medical industry grow over the years of focusing on concussions?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big growth in this space, and there needs to be. You know, when you think about healthcare, there are a lot of organs that have had their decade. The heart has had its decade of being studied. The liver has had its decade. And so then what happens? We start to transplant those organs, and we really start to understand them and its physiologic impact to the rest of the body. Well, it's time for the brain to be studied so that we can understand its impact to your health and to your overall well-being and how you interact with your family and in your environment and what does your future look like? Mm-hmm. The brain is certainly coming up on its decade.
What's the youngest client you've had in your office?
Oh, newborns.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, those are the cases that really, really shake you to the core. You know, seeing pediatric traumatic brain injuries, and it can really compel you to wake up in the morning and to take your job serious.
Oh,
because these are people that now you are impacting the trajectory of their life. This is not just an assessment. Mm-hmm. This is something where we're saying to ourselves, we have to intervene the best that we can so that we can render the best result with the most cost-effective financial approach, mm-hmm. at the same time maintaining the integrity of the family unit, because with traumatic brain injuries, parents get really stressed out. And there's now a lot of new pressures that are added to the family, and especially in these pediatric traumatic brain injury cases.
Financially, insurance cover most of that, the treatment?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, the insurance, I think that you could have a 2-hour segment just on insurance alone and the complexities of navigating insurance. And so as you're consuming some of these services related to traumatic brain injuries, some of these services are covered and some of them are not.
Yeah. Joining us in the studio is Rich Franklin, a UFC fighter, and Dr. Cagan Randall of the Cerebrum Health centers in Irving and Atlanta. This is interesting stuff. I just know on a personal level, I've gone to those coach-parent meetings when they've talked about if we see your son or daughter anywhere get close and we think they might have a concussion, it is immediate to the school physician, which then you go out to they get referred out to your physician.
That's absolutely right. And I want to touch on that for just a second, is that there's two parts of the management of these types of head injuries. First is the acute side. Mm-hmm. And that's what I have to do instantly to protect myself or my child in the event that there's a brain bleed or in the event that there's a very significant neurologic process taking place. And so that requires immediate medical attention at an emergency department or an emergency room closest to you so that they can get some imaging done and we can understand what's happening on the inside of your head. Then after that, Rich talked about this earlier, especially in the fight game. Once you get checked out and everything's okay, you then become an advocate for yourself. And you say, okay, now that I know that I'm not going to die in the immediate, future, what do I do for this head pain? What do I do for my loss of balance? What do I do for my lack of concentration? This is where you can go to facilities like ours, and you can contact us on Cerebrum.com so that you can, schedule a consultation so that you can see what your next steps are. There are answers for people out there that are in post-concussion syndrome. The proverbial dark room is not something that you need to stay in forever. Mm-hmm. There are answers out there that can improve your life and overall well-being.
And obviously, like the smartphones and all the blue light that you look at and all the hypersensitive. I mean,
yeah, that's really bad. I mean, when you're looking at cell phones in recovery, especially in our pediatric cases, children love to text and be on Facebook. And so you really have to control the amount of sensory overload that comes from the telephone.
There you go. Give us that website one more time for that.
Cerebrum.com.
There you go. We'll continue this conversation. We're going to take a break. The Money Show Dallas coming to town. October 19th through the 21st. We've got more information on that. Plus, look, we've got some special guests on the phone we'll get to when we come back. Plus, the Trinity River. I love it. I'm going to go swim and do the backstroke later after the show.
Probably should canoe.
Yeah, a little stand-up paddleboard's more my thing. I can do that. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Stick around. It's 8:27 right here, 620 AM KEXP. Your experts in business. All right, we're back, 8:31 on this beautiful Thursday morning. Coming up on October 19th through the 21st, down at the Hyatt Regency in downtown Dallas is the Money Show Dallas. Jam-packed event with 50-plus speakers on hand, topics ranging all over the place. And on the phone, we have one of the speakers, Bart DeLito. He is chairman and CEO of Vector Vest. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, I tell you, let's talk about the Money Show Dallas. You're one of the speakers featured there to speak to the show, and let's talk about it.
Okay. The Money Show is a great event. Admission is free. As you indicated, there are 50-some experts there to talk about all facets of the market. On Wednesday, there's going to be a symposium for energy investors. On Tuesday is the opening of the Basic Money Show, where there are speakers that will talk about every facet of the market. I will be giving a talk on worry-free investing on Thursday. And if anybody is really serious about making money in the stock market, they should really attend this show because it is the best deal you can get. Admission is free, and you get to listen to experts for 3 solid days. Nothing can beat that.
Nothing can beat that. Let's go into what you're known for. You developed a vector formula that predicting stock price performance. It's kind of cool.
Yes. When I had invested for a number of years without too much success, and I realized that there are 3 things I didn't know. One is what stocks were really worth, how safe they were, and when to buy, sell, or hold. So I sat down and began designing a system that would give me that information. So that's what VectorVest is all about. We calculate the value of over 7,500 stocks every day in the U.S. Around the world, we calculate the value for 23,000 stocks.
Wow.
We calculate how safe they are and when to buy, sell, or hold. We give a buy, sell, hold recommendation on every stock every day, and then we analyze, sort them, and rank them. So it's very easy to know what the best stocks are and what stocks to stay away from.
Well, that's a
very powerful software package.
That's some great information to have. Bart DeLito joining us on the phone. He's a part of the Money Show Dallas coming up at the Hyatt Regency Dallas downtown, October 19th to the 21st. And as Bart said, it is absolutely free. Go online and register. This is something that is now. Is there a limited amount of people that can register for this?
No, there's many people that want to sign up and sign up.
Okay. So we're not cutting it off at 200 people or anything like that.
No. The fact of the matter, there's going to be thousands of people there.
There you go. I'm looking forward to it. I think that, Michael, we will be, you and I, or probably myself, I'll be out there live one of the days.
Right.
Next
Wonderful.
We're going to do some kind of
I can't
broadcast.
wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I've got a couple. I got some stocks I want you to take a look at. Or better yet, I'll just go on VectorVest and I'll have the your software tell me what the situation is on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to meeting you once again. Check out the Money Show Dallas coming to the Hyatt Regency downtown Dallas, October 19th to 21st. Go see Bart DeLito and many others that will be speaking. Steve Forbes there as well, right?
Yes.
Can't wait to see that guy. All right. Thank you so much. Hey, where are you calling from right now, Bart?
I'm calling from Fair Lawn, Ohio. It's a suburb of Akron, Ohio.
Gotcha. All right. Well, you have a safe trip down here to Dallas, and we'll see you. We'll see you next week.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bart DeLito, part of the Money Show Dallas.
Dr. Bart DeLito.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
My apologies. When you meet a guy like Bart, smart guy, what he's developed to track all these stocks, and I used to kind of do a little bit of day trading back in the day. That's when I had money.
Yeah, you've told me about that.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. But you have to know what you're doing, and you have to get these rolling averages, and you have to look to see where the 30-day rolling average and the 45-day rolling average meet and all this other stuff. He's got all that. You can tell he's done all that.
Bet you wish you had some in Snapchat.
I should ask Bart. Bart, what's your Snapchat handle? I'm sure he has one. Let's continue our conversation. Once again, how can someone get a hold of you guys if for more information on if they've had a concussion or they follow up or just, we just want information?
Yeah, you can go to the internet and you can find us on the internet at Cerebrum.com and you can schedule a consultation on the website.
There you go. Very important. And of course, if you've got kids and they play sports, you got to be on top of this. And I'm sure you've already had that parent-teacher meeting because we did. Or the coach-parent meeting about concussions and the protocol. These schools got protocols now.
Oh, yeah.
They don't just say, oh, man, put some dirt on it, or come back tomorrow, you'll feel better.
Oh, yeah.
No.
It's mandated by law now that there are, strict protocols put in place so that we can protect our children.
There you go. And how can someone, Rich, follow you? I'm on social media and all that good stuff.
Yeah. You can, my website's richfranklin.com, but you can check me out on Twitter at Rich Franklin. If you go to my website, it'll have my extension for my Facebook there.
Is Joe Rogan a nice guy?
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. Yeah,
I always like Fear Factor. That was a fun question.
He and I've had a working relationship with him for a long time. I haven't spoken to Joe for a little while now, but he's a good dude. Yeah. Interesting guy to have conversation with.
Yeah, he is.
Man. He's got an opinion on everything.
And very talented, in my opinion. Absolutely. I knew him from Fear Factor. You ever watch Fear Factor? Yeah.
I did.
It was great.
Have you seen any of his stand-up comedy?
He's funny.
Yeah, he is.
No,
really
and for him, when I found out that he was really in this UFC world and this MMA and everything, I'm like, wow, he's pretty diversified as far as a broadcaster.
And he's legit too. Like
is he?
Yeah, he could throw down.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
no, he's a tough guy, and he's really smart, and he sheds a really interesting light on the sport, and he doesn't hold back in his commentary either.
Yeah, love it. All right,
I really liked him in News Radio. He was on the TV show News Radio.
He?
Yes.
Huh. What kind of character was it? Kind of light?
He was the sports guy.
He was a sports guy.
Yeah.
But he was good?
Yeah, man,
He's
hilarious,
talented, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I see him, I'm like, dude, that guy's. I can hang out and drink a beer with that guy.
He played Joe Gorelli from 95 to 99.
All right, let's talk about streams and valleys. We got the director, Stacy Pierce, in the studios. And, of course, the Trinity River is a beautiful staple of our community. But it wasn't always like that. It was not always like that. It's kind of gone a transformation, right?
Exactly. Thanks, Brian. It's good to be with you this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the river was literally, we called it the ditch.
The ditch.
The ditch.
Let's go down to the ditch.
Right, only you couldn't see it and you couldn't get to it. All the levees prevented that from happening. And so in the late 60s, really, is when our organization began because of a lady named Phyllis Tilley.
There you go. And you had a great flood. And
correct, in the 50s.
And some of those levees broke.
Well, the levees were built because of the flood in the 50s.
So what happened was it didn't direct the water just became stagnant and garbage kind of filtered through, and it became a garbage dump essentially.
Exactly. The river became a channel.
And that's the word I was looking
for. So the water couldn't flow. There wasn't much water there. People couldn't see the river. And so it, out of sight, out of mind, I suppose. And that became the place to put your appliances and your tires and other things you didn't want at home.
When I lived in North Carolina, they had a stretch of road called the Kenmore Curve. And I'm like, what's the Kenmore Curve? And it's like this curve, you put your Kenmore dryer in the back of the truck, and you go around the corner real quick, and it falls out and goes on the side of the road. Kenmore Curve. I'm not kidding you.
I think
it's about as white trash red.
Lots of people have it. Lots of cities have that, except I think it's called the mattress curve or something. Yes.
I did not participate in the Kenmore Curve, by the way. I did not do that. But you guys had a vision for this. Truly.
And one of the great things about Fort Worth is the way we work together over there to do big things. And so Phyllis got her friends and family and colleagues together and formed great partnerships with the city and the water district and others. And together they began the march to get back to the river and be able to use it and enjoy it for not only water supply, but also for recreation. And we now have more than 70 miles of trail and ways that you can hike and cycle and kayak and take your dog out for a walk and get out with the stroller, and it's for everybody.
How's that funded, by the way?
Which part?
Kind of the trails and stuff. Yeah, I mean the pedestrian stuff.
Okay, so the Tarrant Regional Water District is in charge of building and maintaining trail in conjunction with the city of Fort Worth. So it's tax dollars. It's funding from all sorts of different sources. Streams and Valleys is a nonprofit organization. Nonprofit. So our donations go to support all of those efforts. And so we seek to fund and inspire and develop programs and initiatives that are going to make the trails network better.
Yeah, and plant the trees and all. I mean, think about this for a second. There was no trees down there at the time, and you guys have planted thousands of trees to kind of beautify the area.
So that's really what Streams and Valleys started with, is making it more beautiful, and then that led to obviously the development of so many connections to neighborhoods and all throughout the city to the river. So again, I can't stress enough the partnership and people getting involved and making where they live better.
All right, you got an event coming up called Friends of the River. It's a party on the plaza.
Exactly. So we're going to take a run through Trinity Park. We're going to...
hang on a second. If you don't run, can you walk?
You can walk.
I've got
absolutely.
Rich, you recommend I walk with a brisk pace or run? Or doesn't matter? Heart rate up?
If you're going to walk 5 miles or run 5 miles, you're going to burn the same amount of calories doing it. It's just a matter of how much time it takes you to get it done.
10-4 on that.
So
Roger that.
Get moving.
Get moving. Yeah, I was at the gym the other day, and they were like, it goes like, how you doing? He's all peppy, and I'm like, I'm going good. He's like, what's your agenda today? I'm like, I'm going to burn fat. He goes, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm just probably going to go on the stair stepper. And he told me a way to run for 30 seconds as fast as I could, and then rest 30 seconds and walk, and then run 30 seconds. And I thought, and he explained just what you said, and I thought, oh, it makes a lot of sense. Get that heart rate, burn that fat. Okay, so you're gonna be running.
Well, we like to say you can run, walk, stroll, bring your dog, bring your kids.
Skateboard, doesn't matter.
Get outdoors, enjoy that part of the event. And then we have a tasting event in Montgomery Plaza from 7 to 9. Great music by Party Gras. And by the way, if you are not a runner, walker, or stroller, you certainly can come just for the party. But it's a great chance to be outdoors, The money goes for a great cause, the Trinity River, and all of the initiatives around that. And music's great. People are great. The weather's going to be beautiful, so come on down.
And I see that you guys have beer. So obviously, do you want to throw out any? Is there local breweries participating in this?
Well, yes, we have
Worth-based?
we have a great sponsor, Benny Keith, who helps us with that. And
you can rattle off the sponsors. It's okay. I want to give them some love. I'm in that
super
business.
restaurants come in to join us, and so it's a quick event. It's 6 to 9, so you can still get in bed at a reasonable hour if you're worried about that.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to start your weekend on a Thursday night. So.
And Rich will be fighting Michael Clark in the ring.
Oh,
in the barbed wire cage match.
Right.
Reverse rear chicken naked kick or whatever.
Sure.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, do you have to sign up in advance, or can you literally just walk up and pay your $30 or whatever?
you can do both. So
do both.
obviously, you can get a little bit of price if you make your plans in advance.
There you go.
So you can sign up online, or you can walk in and register at Luke's Locker in Montgomery Plaza.
Good
and then
sponsor there, right?
Pardon?
But Luke's Locker, great company.
Oh,
Always
amazing.
out- yes.
Amazing partner.
We've had him on the show several times.
Amazing partner. Longtime partner of Streams and Valleys. So you can do online, friendsoftheriverfw.com, or you can do in person at Luke's Locker. And then the day of, you can walk right into the plaza itself after 5 o'clock and register that way. So
I love it. Streams and Valleys. Go check it out. And, you guys are a nonprofit, so donations are
always appreciated, of course.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Did you guys do the North Texas Giving Day? You participate in that?
For the first time, we did.
All right.
Great event. Just a great event.
Raise some funds for you guys?
Absolutely.
There you go. I mean, what was that? $35 million?
37.
God. Hey, man, DFW's rich.
Yeah.
It's a lot of philanthropic city.
Truly.
People giving money away left and right. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about this Samsung Galaxy Rescue Box is what they're kind of calling it. And we're also going to talk about, hey, have you ever done a creative way of quitting your job? Survey comes out that many Americans are quitting their jobs before they even have a job. And why? Are they crazy?
Bake yourself a going away cake and serve it to the people at work.
And put a lot of, X-Lax in it. Put some.
I wasn't going that direction.
Yeah, why not? Or
No.
put some, make pot brownies. Take them to the
What?
office. Everybody fail the drug test, then you get your job back.
I was thinking creative, not illegal, Brian.
There you go. All right, we'll take a break. 8:46. As always, you can go to 620amkexp.com for more information on this radio show and other shows on this fine Salem Media Radio Network. Love it. Stick around.
We don't need no thought control.
All right, we're back, 8:50. All right, Samsung. We all know this Samsung Note 7 has been kind of putting on the brakes. But now Samsung's getting creative. They're sending out these fireproof boxes to Samsung Galaxy owners to basically put all this stuff together and send it back.
So they're not getting Brian Glenn creative, baking pot into cookies or something.
Correct. Correct. That's if you have the Apple.
And that's if you're quitting
pot
Samsung.
smoke in Northern California. The Koreans aren't doing that. The Koreans aren't smoking pot. But this is kind of interesting. It is a cardboard box within another cardboard box with a static electric sleeve to put the phone in. And it comes with fireproof gloves, heat-resistant gloves, just in case. Are they thinking you're putting this thing as it's still steaming inside the box, or you're letting it? You got to let it go out first. But why would they give you oven mitts? You don't need that any longer.
Now available on the Home Shopping Network, the Samsung Note 8, complete with your own UV glove.
Oh, well, it's 2.5 million Samsung Galaxy Notes are out there, and they all got to go back. And so they've all been known to bursting into flames. Now, I know the flight that I was into Indianapolis last weekend, they told me, if you got a Note 7, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Leave it here.
Dispose of it properly.
I've got to be honest with you. I'm nervous about this Edge over here. I'm still nervous because when I do Facebook Live, and if I do the live and it's plugged in at the same time, and I've had it on the show, it heats up, man.
Yeah.
And honestly, when I unplug and I touch it, I'm like, ooh, this is kind of warm. Not warm like burning my skin warm, but warm like, should it be this hot?
I would let you use my phone to broadcast Facebook Live, but I'm afraid that it's not really the brand of phone. It's rather the person using it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Throw you under the bus for that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, I kind of like to open up the floor now. We talk about, quitting jobs, and many Americans are walking away from their jobs before they even have a job. And you've always heard that advice: never quit your job until you have another job. Your parents always said it, just like that, actually, in that voice. But many Americans are stepping away from their job before they have another job, and because they have confidence in the job market, they have confidence in the economy, and we've seen the numbers and the confidence factors come out, and it just keeps going up, despite maybe what you see in the media. And that's a great example, and let's make America great again. He talks about how bad the economy is, and I kind of say, from the circle of friends that I'm in, it's not that bad. I mean, you a lot of hard work and get out there and roll up your sleeves and find different ways to do business. It's not that bad. So I will say that millennials are very confident on the job market, and they're willing to step away from their job and find something else. And we talk about passion a lot on this show, and I think whatever you do, and from anybody sitting in this room right now, they're doing it because they had passion. I'll turn it to you. You're in what you do because you have a passion for really, for our community and serving others, right?
No question.
No question, right?
That's the great thing about civic work is the partnerships, the people that do that. I mean, nobody's getting rich doing this. We're doing it because we love it, because it's legacy work, because you feel like at the end of the day, the time you spent might make it better for somebody else.
Yeah. Cagan, same thing? I mean,
absolutely. I think, service before self and coming together and making your community better, just like you're talking about, is probably one of your biggest civic responsibilities.
When I asked you about the youngest person to have a concussion, you said a newborn, and you said, hey, this is the point where this person's life's been altered. We can either make sure we do the very best to get it going the right direction, or if you're not focused or whatever, I mean, they could live with really something very serious the rest of their lives.
Right. Yeah. And so I think just attention to detail and love of service before self are principles that need to be adhered to.
There you go. Rich, always passionate about, I know we talked before the show, athletics and sports.
Yeah, absolutely. But I almost feel so shallow next to these people now because they talk about civic duty and helping others. And I pursue a career
Michael,
of
go ahead and say it. Before he was a
high school math teacher.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You deal with high schoolers?
That's laudable.
I got one. I can't deal with them. I want to go UFC on my son every day.
Yeah, but
he bucks the heck out of me.
I'll tell you though, just with my job and everything, my job's given me the ability to affect a lot of other lives just outside of the fight game, so to speak. Like, I've done a lot of work with disabled vets and what brought me down to the Cerebrum Center and stuff like that. I'm constantly involved in those kind of things. So yeah, I mean, you have to pursue things that you're passionate about, because when you wake up early in the morning to go to work, it doesn't feel like you're getting up for a job. You're just getting up to do what you love to do.
It's kind of like this job. I wake up and, hey, come on here and give people a platform to help others, and I feel pretty good about it. I try to make it entertaining. I try to, get people laughing a little bit, give them a little bit of information. I'm with you. I think it's passion. If you're in a job right now, and I say this, and a lot of people say, Brian, why do you say this? You're advocating people just walking away and quitting the job. Life is too short, and you've seen it in your line of work. The mental capacity for people, life's too short, and you've got to do something that you involve. And I'm going to go a step further. If you're in a relationship that's not positive and healthy, life is too short. Move on. If you're in a job, life is too short. Move on. Larry Elders, the talk show guy.
Yeah.
He said something years ago that, he was in a dead end job kind of before he was a radio personality. He owned some kind of like headhunting firm or something.
Sure. Yeah.
And he was just doing a horrible job at it, losing money. And finally someone said, look, you know what? You got to take charge, make a change right now. The littlest change can just slightly divert your future into a bright new path. And that goes with relationship, that goes with your business, that goes with your health. I mean, you tell me a great thing. Give up grains. If I'm tired of being bloated, if I'm tired of carrying around a pony keg, do something about it. Quit eating grains, stupid. Hey. In a way, that's what Donald Trump's bedside manner is with this country.
You're not going to quit eating grains. I know you.
I know.
You like your craft beer.
Now.
You like your craft beer too.
Yeah, you know what's funny about drinking? And I could. I'm not addicted to anything other than this right here. Coffee.
Yeah,
that I'm holding up.
Spoken like a true addict.
But I think
I'm not addicted to anything except for
coffee.
This thing.
And
maybe that too.
And my faux hawk.
Yeah, and this other thing.
That's pretty funny.
But aside from those things.
Other than that, I am healthy. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I've never done drugs.
Mute the button. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's wrap this.
We got to.
This ship up. Thanks for joining us. Contact real quickly for you, Streams and Valleys. Go ahead.
Streamsandvalleys.org or friendsoftheriverfw.com.
Go. Cerebrum.com, right?
Yep, cerebrum.com.
And then richfranklin.com for more information on that. You can always reach out to us at 620amkexb.com for more information on this show and find show. Follow me on Brian Glenn TV on Twitter or on Facebook as well. We'll see you back here tomorrow.